Hello and welcome back to the channel. And skipping with a bonus dream team course in that this one's from someone who's not on any of the teams, but given that our kind of, so Petro, Rob and I about, I want to say 2-3 years ago, started doing this plot swap thing. That was kind of the seed of the idea for the whole contest way back. So I sent Rob the plots at the start, just kind of out of interest. Also tried to tempt him to be involved because I thought he'd enjoy it. But he wasn't necessarily sure that he got a course out in time and was struggling with loving the designer, etc. So anyway, he took on Rhino's plot and sent me a routing on it and sent me a version of it a while ago. And yeah, it's really, really good, as you would expect. So we're going to have a little look around this one and see how this one has gone and where he went and all of those things, and just kind of give it a preview play because A, we love Rob's courses and we love Rob, and B, it's like another take on the same thing. I'm still not going to make the plots available to everyone, and I understand that that may come across as a little, I don't know what the word is, unfair, perhaps. But I think he was one who got these specially just because like it was his idea that really started it. He was the one who kicked off, like, create a plot and send it to me and all of those sorts of things. So yeah. But we'll discuss as captains whether we want to share them after the contest is over. So anyway, so you have the clubhouse just about here, and then that's your access road, and the property went all the way up this way. And then he said this one's mostly inspired by Rock Creek Cattle Company, which I think inspired the plot loosely. So we have some caravans. You can see he's chosen to put T's and greens very close together, which makes a ton of sense. And what I liked, well, this one does come to the creek, but it doesn't really focus on it so much. It's more the holes with kind of, it's kind of like Charlie's course on this plot, that it really just deals with the elevation and the land movement, and that's kind of the primary feature. And then it also has a creek rather than kind of coming back to the creek all of the time. But when it does integrate with the creek, it's pretty, it's in a big way. And there had to be a halfway hut, so if you didn't return on 9, so I presume that's this. That is a halfway hut. And we've got the kind of trademark big, bold Rob tees. And yeah, and also that kind of natural bunkering style, which is just effortless and annoying. And you'd never necessarily draw the bunkers like this if you're doing it from overhead, but when you look at it from player's point of view, they do exactly what they need to. Just always really like his bunkering from that point of view. And yeah, we're just going to leap in and give this one a play. Been looking forward to this one for a little while. And then you've got the creek, which Ryan had already planted a while ago. So just kind of riffing on that planting and going from there. Yeah, I know. I used to have the same in reverse. So when our son was born, I would be watching Andre and Matt stream kind of at 3 a.m. feeds and things like that. Okay, so this hole has changed a little since I last saw it. I really like the bunkering, looks great. It layers so nicely above the trees. And the creek is kind of in play more visually, although if you're wanting to take the shortcut on this side, you are taking that on. And I guess it's that longer approach. It's a tough green for sure. Let's go this way, and we're just going to hit somewhere safely into the fairway. That's more conservative than I would have liked. Which means I'm going to have a very long shot in. Yep, still doable, but oh my, I've left myself a long way. And you've got a little bit of a kind of route into the green if you're hitting kind of more from the front right than this super steep runoff. Love this first green site, and short bunkers and bunkers long just works really well. Okay, can we try and hit a tempo, because those two are awful. There we go, it's a bit better. So yeah, really cool introductory hole, just like what Rob does really well was with these plot swaps was always just find holes that lay really naturally on the land and it doesn't feel like there's any sculpting done. Two's a great example. Big sweeping view, like Okay, and we could hit driver and try and take on all of this, but I don't know if I really want to pitch to that elevated green. Sculpting around the green looks really good, and I suspect a lot of it's untouched. Just this was the spot where the green was. We go from there. Love the green contouring. Like, the first version I saw had a ton of red on all of the greens, and I think it works really nicely now with that tempered a little bit. This is on McConnell's, so Rhino, or RJM, whatever we know him as. But yeah, ground game there, and like the way you get the ball to those different flatter spots is really cool as well. Okay, somewhere up there. Oh, my tempo is just really poor. Two from two with missed greens as well. But yeah, great views. Like the grass is kind of as ever work. Everything just feels effortless with rock plots. It's really annoying. Third hole. Love this kind of bunkering cluster in front on a long par 3. I think a long par 3 is a great kind of downhill hole because you're checking elevation out. And yeah, everything filtering in from this side so that you can access pins over here makes a load of sense as well. The way these bunkers and grasses and little rocks and things all work together is just really cool. Okay, so downhill with wind. I want to be aiming about here, so right over those bunkers, and then hopefully hit the left side of the green, which roll in. Well, needed a tempo there. Oh, it could be it. Probably wanted to land a little further short and then hit that slope to roll across, but I'm okay with that. The flower as large as a tree makes me chuckle. It's partly because we weren't allowed to replant trees on this plot, so some of them are very, very small. Okay, and we're back to the clubhouse, which is a nice little loop of 3. Kind of view those sorts of things as like a playoff loop. Oh, good, he worked out how to delete the crowds. Excellent. All right, so we've got the creek splitting. So you can hit well over, you can hit short. I like there's very few bunkers. It's very much how close to the creek you want to play. And then a really cool green side at the foot of the hills in this mounding all around it. Like the restraint, but just the one bunker in front as well. Oh, and that sneaky one at the back is cool. Also a really nice one just to protect between the 2 tees. I think that's kind of a classy touch. Yeah, loads of fun trying to use the ground contours to work the ball to different pins with this one. Ah, that's better. We finally found a tempo. I really wish that 190 yards in was not a 7-iron in this game. That little false front means if you're running it on, it really... It's an interesting one, because you'd feel like a false front protects against ground game, and it kind of does. But if you're hitting a longer shot in, where it's bouncing up here, it'll probably just slow it up, so you do end up near this pin. It's something you wouldn't necessarily always do, but it can work really nicely. Okay. Oh, that's all me. Just haven't found my swing this morning. And now we're in a pretty bad spot. I think. That needs to sit hard. And it's gone. Well, we've been flirting with bogey for the first 3 holes. Makes sense on the longest par 4. Shame. 2 absolutely terrible shots on approach. Really cool look down the creek, and I think I know where we're at. So we've got the waterfall. Yeah. So kind of near the top part of this. Really cool green, so you can go for it, but if you're close and up here, that's a tricky little chip down. So it looks like it's a gathering slope from the tee, but then the more you play right off it, the more it kind of starts hurting you. Again, love the bunkers just kind of creeping out of the water. I think this is the one pin I wouldn't be going for it on, so I just don't want to be too far long, but then I don't know where I can go. I really feel comfortable. I think we're just laying way back, to be honest. And then hopefully ground contours fill us, yeah, run us down to here. Even though it's a pitch, which I don't love. So I just don't trust my pitches. That's pretty good. So it's a cool hole. Like, you definitely could go for it, but also there's enough that dreadful putt. But yeah, there's enough like sensible plays out there that you can take those on if you want. No, if you don't fancy going for the green. And the green's got enough bite to it. All right. 6. So you hit over the corner of this. I like that there's a little depression there so that you can't always roll through. It's basically you're hitting diagonally across this fairway that you can't really see, and the wide, like the shorter you are off the tee, the more generous that is, but the more you take on that blind hazard, the more precise you have to be. And I think like Scout Cam kind of, I wouldn't say hurts this hole, but it doesn't have the effect maybe it might do in real life, because that would be really tough to pick a line on. And therefore you wouldn't have the fairway be quite this narrow in real life, like the blindness would be enough. Awesome green site. As ever, really good like mix of, like the second was this high plateau green, and then this one's like between some mounds halfway up the hill, and you've got some, so you've got some at the base of the hill with 4, on the top with 2, kind of middle here. It does that really well. Okay, we want to try and use that feeder slope if we possibly can, up 32 feet, yeah. I think this works. I need to go just a little. Oh no, we're good. I thought it was good, and it now really isn't. It's definitely a match play course, and you get, like, you'd feel like you weren't really out of a hole. It's just dead straight. Excellent, we're finally back to level. Okay, second par 3. So the first one was downhill and kind of to a very receptive green. Second one uphill to a plateau green with like way more tough contouring. Hello, Lily. Can you take it to Rory? Can you take Rory and say, can you charge it? Okay. Little thing, but the fairway short really works nicely for just framing and giving the hole a little bit more space to work with. I think if that were all planting, this wouldn't have worked quite so well. I think 9-iron's still the play. Oh, it is. A little bit of feeder slope. And again, like the kind of messy, ragged bunkering style is really cool. So I would say where there's multiple, you kind of want multiple options on each hole. It's a good question, like what makes a match play course. Oh, yeah. Multiple options on each hole, and that doesn't need to be for this pin you go here, for this pin you go here, but like definite kind of inherent risk reward of take on a hazard and you yield a greater reward. And I think you tend to want half par holes, so either real birdie opportunities or like longer, stiffer par 4s, but often it lends towards shorter holes that make people take more risks, and yield greater options. So like on a 380-yard hole, well, actually that does bring hitting 5 wood and hitting 3 iron into play off the tee. Additionally, I think you want the greens to be like big and bold typically, because you're not worried about people making a big score because they just lose the hole. So it's kind of that sort of idea. All right, really good look off the tee. Bunkers built into the hillside both sides, and you can kind of see the fairway running between them. And then this hole just goes wild. We'll look at the second shot in a minute. But oh no, don't miss the fairway. Oh, well, this is actually good because in playtesting I didn't ever have to think about this middle shot, so I'm glad I do now. I mean, the green site itself is quality, kind of that base of a hill, but top of the next rise. And just, okay, this has shifted since I originally saw it. I think it went over here. Yeah, the simplified greens work really well on this. The ones I saw were kind of very, like, kind of segmented, so big red area, red area, red area, and it's kind of you hit that pin or you didn't. I think these are much more cohesive and really work nicely. Okay, so now we have to think about what lie we have. And I can't clear this, which makes it actually work really well as a hazard. So now I have to think if I can calculate my lie well enough to get to here and where I want to be for angle. I probably want to be further over here, but that's further back. Loads to bear in mind with this one. And we've gone too far again, and just kind of missing that first fairway compounds everything. Like, there's a ton of fairway on this hole, and yet if you miss that first bit, pressure just really ramps up. So I'm really glad I did. Okay. But I still feel like I've got a chance if I hit the right part of the green, which we might have done. It just slowed up a touch, but yep. Still have a birdie putt. And so like that's it. So you got helper slopes and you've got enough fairway, and there's always a recovery shot. So the slopes on the greens tend to like these little red slopes, if you're slightly the wrong side of them, you're struggling. But if you take them on and you will be kind of like in a little bowl. So you can't, they can funnel a great shot really, really close, but a shot that's just off can be punished, and therefore that keeps the contest of who's in the hole a bit closer. I think I just want to trickle that one, and then the slopes will do the rest. Yeah, that's one of my favourite par fives I've played in a long time. Okay. Overnaming bunker to a fairway where the land just does everything. So this is 9, so we're heading out towards that way up. So I think just hit driver down that line and trust that the fairway contours kind of keep it in. And then a big front to back green. So it's like, I always view these, whenever I get a front to back green, I always view it as like you don't have to take it all the way. It's like trying to run the ball down if you can. So I think I can hedge my bets like there. And then the ball should just release a bit. And for me, that makes it much easier when you recognise that. It's like play for the middle of the green, and then so that helps the kind of player who's looking a bit ahead of a little more. I think there. Keep turning. Oh, just cannot read these. Okay, back 9 time. Another really cool bunker cluster. Oh yeah, that's one of the ones we pointed out in the flyover at the start. And I like that they take up so much space as well. So like it's a big plot, so you want your bunkering to be big and bold. These go from 300 all the way back to 218. So a whole 82 yards of bunkering there. And then, but then the only two that you're really worrying about, this one, it makes a ton of sense for it to be vertical because then it affects a load of different driver lengths. And then that one on the outside is really more for longer hitters. Again, another cool green and a bunker dug in. Just, yeah, keep coming back to that word effortless. And back doesn't need a bunker, it's just because it's got that hillside, you don't need to touch anything. I think I'm in that right-hand bunker. Unless we get a really lucky bounce. Oh, we got a really unlucky bounce. I'd have rather been in the bunker. But I do have a little path. So again, it's tempting me to take that on, but then by playing to this right side, I'm playing close to that bunker, so potentially bringing that more into play. I do also think when people playtest, this is a great example of why you playtest your shots from the heavy rough and see how they go. Like, do I have an option to play that and still end up on the green? And is that option interesting? I will see so many people just rewind if they miss a fairway. And it's like, yeah, most people will hit the fairway, but you've got to make sure that there's a route for those who don't. And another green where there's like, so the last green was front to back, and then this one's got this big dip in front, and that's pretty hard back to front. So again, has a balance of features. 11. Okay, so you got a big mound over here, so it could funnel you this way, which honestly could be where we want. Love this little bunker in front, which is affecting all sorts of shots where you're landing the ball short, because that in conjunction with the little roll off kind of diagonally this way makes me play closer to it. Yeah, I want to be over here, but I do not back myself. And it's up 44 feet, so I need to play close to here and try and be as left as I can be and not run through. Oh no. I'm going to miss another fairway. Oh, at least it's only light rough. And he did give me tons of space to hit short of that, so it's my own fault. And I want to be trying to land it somewhere up here and rolling it just on. And I don't know that I have that shot. That's not the slow we wanted. Now I've hit that bunker we were talking about. So like visually, the ones at the back will get all the impact, or the one on the right. But in actual fact, the one that has all the impact is that one, little one at the front that looks like it's nowhere near in play. Another awesome hole. Okay, so having seen previews of this course, this is my favourite hole in the game currently, I think, which is pretty strong praise. Big wide fairway, very much based on Pacific Dunes 9, I think. And you've got a high green, which is like playing for a pitch shot, and so elevated and playing up. And then you've got the low green, which is the running shot, and you're playing downhill. And based on that, everything on the tee shot changes. So it's like whether you're going left and it rolls down here, or you're trying to stay close to the bunker to get an angle because the bunkering cuts in front, or you're playing out this way because that looks safe, but then you're hitting over all of those bunkers, or you play way this way in order to generate an angle into that front pin, but you're suddenly a little bit more blind. There's just so much going on. And yeah, it's not cluttered. It's like all land movement and where he's put surfaces, and just love it. And then you've got elevation change to factor in. So I think we're just going to hit 3-wood over here and just aim for this flat spot in the middle. And I've got a longer shot in. I feel like downhill 10. Didn't want to push it, but I feel like that's okay. And then it's just going to kick forward, and hopefully, there we are. And I can see other people playing that hole totally differently. And depending on wind, you might be trying to like let's say if you've got a big tailwind, you might be trying to hit driver and like funnel it down towards here because it's very downhill. Yeah, exactly. I wish that was a. I would love that to be kind of more a 7-iron or something like that, but hey, we can imagine. I mean, for some people it might be. Okay, another par 3. So kind of similar in green sight to that third hole, but then green itself doing something very different. So trying to run through a swale. I'm not good enough to work that one out, but I think going just over here, I think is all I need. Of course, we've got the low-flying rjwils30, which seems to be a staple. Love it. Over here, I think. I was trying to hit a shorter swing and just sped up. You can see the ball kind of works its way down. Thank you, Lily. Yeah, but you've taken the thing out of the wall, sweetheart. We'll be back in 1 second. Lily, you need to stay with it plugged in, my love. You leave it plugged in. Leave that place. Just leave it there. Charge. Use the weights. And 3-year-old does not understand how to charge a tablet. Okay. Well, not the approach shot we would have wanted into a par 3. Again, that little bunker just beyond the green makes a load of sense. Visually and also protecting from running into another tee. No, back into the swale. Oof. It's not a bad putt. Well, we would be losing the match comfortably if we were playing this one against pretty much anyone. 14, and we're coming back down to the creek. I feel like a lot of people are going to have a hole kind of about here. Love that bunkering just coming out of here, and like sculpting of these 3 where it almost looks like it could be one bunker, but in fact it's 3 separate ones is really cool. Like, plays with those sorts of visuals lots. I don't think I need to take on the water too much. Yeah, definitely not to this pin. I've got no idea, actually. It's a very good question. I think it's just... Yeah, I don't know. No idea. Okay, 3 iron. So short par... Oh, it's a long par 4. I thought it was a short par 4. Par 5. Tough hole. Well, it makes sense that we don't have to challenge the water then. Yeah, no, I agree. I've not seen those before and they are really cool. Okay, that's a good shot for a change. Now comes back, so that's where we go makes sense that the hardest hole, in my mind, so far I've done that too. Really cool green side again, so that one requiring an elevated approach, although there's a little space to land it short and roll on. Back to even. In the moment, if I break par, I'd be delighted. Okay, ton of hazards. So this stops us playing too safe with driver and just choking down here. This is the one that you'd really worry about. And then you have to try to shoot that gap. Just don't trust my tempo. And that's why. It just wasn't a good shot. Okay, but we still have an option, because as long as we're all right, say somewhere safe. Oh, but I don't think that's safe because I've now got a horrible puck, so I was a bit cowardly. Still for birdie. Doesn't feel like it's got any hope whatsoever. Did well. Yeah, really cool green sight. Like, again, when he does use the creek, it's in a big way. So putting a green somewhere near this, like, I don't know what you'd call it, where the river splits, makes a load of sense. I think loads of people will put probably a par 3 near here. I like putting a par 5 near those sorts of features personally. I always try, like for me, I try and find best spots almost for my par 5s. I just find they're the most fun shots to play in game. Okay. Yeah, this one's gone through some changes since I last saw it, and I definitely prefer it. Okay, so really do not want to miss right. So plateau green, given the ones we just played, makes a load of sense. Yep. Rob, if you end up watching this, much prefer this one. Great work. Yeah, so just kind of it's a tough 2 shots. And really just playing with elevation. So this was a hole that I looked at a while ago, and this was the only one I really kind of didn't like that much in the original version. It had some good shots, but it was just awkward land to work with. So, but it was absolutely necessary for that previous hole and then the next one. I do not want an 8-iron pitch, thank you. 39. I don't think the wind's going to help us that much. And I'm on an awkward slope. Okay, that's pretty good. As long as we... Yeah. I love the mounds on the green. Like that pair of them creates a really interesting feature on the left. And on the right, you don't need anywhere near as much because you just got that absolute death. Right, go on. Yay. We're under par. I feel like this is a win at the moment. Awesome green. I love that we've got a shallow par 3 as well. Or it feels shallower. Just great view from here. Oof. That is it. Okay, I'll do well to make birdie. Yeah, I'll do very well to make birdie. I'll do well to make par. Love how open the front middle of the green looks because it's just defended by that runoff. Don't need anything more. Try and use that little backstop. So I don't mind this rolling a little further on. Could have thrown it a bit higher, but that's good. There we go. Take the par. And we finish with par 5 and long one, but very downhill. And super mounded fairway and then great green side. Right, oh, just tucked over the creek because we haven't done that yet. There's just so... Oh no, there's so much to like here. Well, we've taken the fun shot out of play for the second because I can't reach, but it does mean, again, like all sorts of interest as to where you choose to play. And like there's these fair... These fairways are great because they give you a ton of space, but also like it matters where you are.
Quite funny, Daddy.
Oh no, Rory, I'll come in a second, sweetheart.
Because I've still got a lot of paper in my box left.
Yeah, I'll come in a second, sweetheart. Okay, and then we go to this, and that's not the shot we wanted. So hitting a pitch shot over a river to a tight green. I think we go lob wedge. Oh, that's actually come out really nicely. There we go. That's the sort of shot you'd want to finish on match play where your opponent feels like they've won the hole. And then you've got clubhouse, practice green, little car park. Love this green as well. Like, yeah, everything you've done with softening the greens, like, awesome. Plays really well. It's really good. Like every time Rob drops something, if you haven't dug through his back catalogue, do. Like it's incredible. For most of us, we put him as the best designer in the game, but like, and it's not really even that close. Just he does that kind of effortless, rugged style and creates really unique stuff really well, but also still having a ton of strategy to it, and no one quite matches that. But yeah, I played rubbish. Course is amazing. Give it a play. It's a shame it's not in the contest because this would have won on that plot, I imagine.